And with an Orianna quickly removing Jensen's probably most comfortable mid laner off the table.
Yeah, it's definitely his most played mid laner on the split, and you got to see why last game. 19 of 20, 95% kill participation on that pick. Yeah. Just throwing the bans at powerful mid laners.
That's the case. Jensen, very strong competitor, and Pobelter wanting to get a little bit of help in the matchup. We'll see what ends up picking for himself later on. Cloud9, of course, a few less bans to work with. Zac and Caitlyn seem to be considered must bans. I would question if they're must red side bans. They're certainly incredibly popular champions, but it feels like we fall into these patterns where red side just takes up all the bans, then just gives away freedom to the other side to ban what they want. It's of questionable validity, but certainly it's what all these teams have settled upon as what they believe is the optimal strategy. We'll see what Cloud9's one free ban appears to be, will end up being.
Yeah, and then that sets up for whatever Immortals wants to power pick. We've seen a lot of variation in that. Since Ori was down, they also just make sure to get rid of Pobelter's Cinder. A lot of Immortals wins have been through just control and CC chaining. So if there's one pattern Immortals has in draft, it is large amounts of CC. So the Elise first pick, not too surprising there after the Zac ban and the Cinder ban.
So Elise at the table, no surprise here into this one, and we'll see what jungler Cloud9 wants to grab for themselves. I don't imagine you'd want to wait too far and wait till the second phase to grab a jungler. Elise is considered so high priority. Of course, they get to bargain that and get Thresh for themselves. Smoothie, we know, is a great Thresh player, as is Olleh, and it's the most popular. Actually, in pro play in 713, Braum has a slightly higher presence rate than Thresh across the general pro scene.
Right.
Now, NA may clearly value Thresh higher, and I'm not debating that, but Braum actually has been seen more in pro play this patch, and they get the incredibly important Thresh Kalista bot lane that we saw work so well earlier this week.
Yeah, so really interesting progression here from game 1 to 2, because in game 1 it was Cloud9 who blue side banned Kalista, and we were trying to think, hey, maybe they just haven't put as many recent games into Kalista as other teams, or they only want to play Kalista with Thresh, which could be the more likely thing here, and you're basically only going to get that combo if you're red side, because you got to lock them in one after the other without getting them denied, since both of them are still strong picks in their own right. So I do like what C9 has done here, picking for the duo. When they picked Xayah Rakan, it was right off the bat. Now it's Thresh Kalista in the same order.
So we'll see what comes into this one. Does Immortals want to match their own bot lane into this one? Xayah already picked up without Rakan available. You are not blind picking Yasuo. There's no reason to do so. Bard going to come alongside. Also a fun one to watch for. Not quite Yasuo, but same time still pretty cool. Elise, Xayah, and Bard, the first two picks for Immortals.
Yeah, really, I feel like a bit peculiar here. They are picking the Rakan maybe to try and dodge some of the CC from the Thresh Kalista, but, or sorry, the Xayah, but yeah. Rakan is already banned, so Olleh is just a very good pick for Bard and Olleh are a good combo together, but I don't see any super inbuilt synergy between those two picks.
Yeah, not that I, excuse me, sorry, not that I can think of either, aside from maybe setting up feathers with your Q after Tempered Fate ends. That's a bit minor, though, either way. It has been a somewhat comfort pick for Cody Sun. I think we see him a lot on champions like Cog, Twitch, Xayah, these champions you tend to feel like scale very hard into late game. They've got area of effect auto attacks in the kit or some kind of hard scaling, and that seems to be the style they keep putting themselves on, or what Cody Sun is comfortable on. Regardless, Taliyah is grabbed up for Jensen, so his blind pick mid laner, lining up for the next couple of set of bans, as they've put a Lucian ban as well to give Taliyah some better matchups. On the Immortal side, they've removed Gragas from the table, and as they've already picked the Elise, looking to maybe remove some more junglers from the Cloud9 options.
Yeah, and this is kind of similar to what Immortals did last game on red side, where they're opting into a role mismatch as far as the first 3 picks of the draft.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's pretty smart to do in this meta when junglers are concerned, because previously it was a clear top 4 or top 5. You'd have Zac, Elise, a lot of times they'll be banned early. Then you got stuff like Rek'Sai, Gragas, and Lee Sin that would fall in after, and it was pretty easy to pinch the jungler if you didn't pick it in first rotation and then ban it out in second rotation. But now, I feel like those top 5 junglers are still there, but you also have this crew of junglers climbing up the back, which is Nunu, Maokai, Sejuani. So there's too many junglers right now, I feel like, to truly pinch out the role, which is why it's really safe to hold the second ban phase. So yes, Immortals denied Gragas, but Rek'Sai is a great jungler right now, and that's what Contractz picks.
I agree. So Rek'Sai is in there for Contractz. That's the one he wants to go for. The Camille ban leads way to Jarvan IV in the top lane. I think that's not a surprise to many people here. C9 had the option of rush picking the Jarvan and grabbing it early on for themselves. The Flame will reprise his role, this time in a different lane matchup, as Corki will come through for Pobelter in the mid lane. So the front line a little bit less large here for Immortals. It's Elise Jarvan for the melees, double marksman in the mid. And now what will they throw in the top lane to deal with Jarvan now that Ray's Camille is gone?
I don't think it will be a Azir top.
Unlikely.
But, it probably will not be Fervor Rumble either. It's going to be the Gnar, which was banned out against the Jarvan in the previous game. Or sorry, the Kled. Kled and Gnar, yeah, resourceless physical damage top laners. Get them confused.
They build the same items practically,
yeah.
And it's okay. I called Taliyah Kindred Kalista Kindred yesterday, so we all make mistakes. It's all good. And yes, the lineups are here. Jarvan, Elise, Corki, Xayah, Bard for Immortals versus Kled, Rek'Sai, Taliyah, and the all-amazing Kalista Thresh bot lane. C9, if they don't win this lane, I feel like there's kind of some issues because this is one of the very best laning duos in League of Legends.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And that's also a lane that can be played around very well by the Taliyah and the Kled. So a lot of collapsing can happen from these solo lanes. The Taliyah and the Kled are a fairly popular top-mid duo, so to speak, because of how quickly they can force 5-man fights anywhere on the map. Kled ultimate Taliyah wall gets you there faster than anyone can match. That's actually why Pobelter has brought teleport on Corki. Because I think they're trying to match that map play that C9 can bring.
And we have fun to watch for. Jensen bringing Cleanse to survive in his own matchup as we have the lineups once again on your screen to the coaches already shook hands. Cloud9 up 1-0 in this series. They're currently 2 matches behind Immortals in the standings. They can shrink that lead to 1 with a win here. Hoping that Jensen can continue his reign of terror in the mid lane and that Ray can have another very strong game against Flame's Jarvan. Another very strong duo in the bottom as well, as Sneaky was having a very bad game, a set of games yesterday against Envy and was very low impact in game 1 here against Immortals, hoping that that bot lane can shape it back up here for Cloud9 as they need more than Jensen to carry. It was Ray in the top lane last game. We'll see who else can do so today.
Yeah, and this is such a pivotal game in the scope of Cloud9 and Immortals' split. Because when you think of Cloud9, you do not think of a 6-6 sixth place team.
Yeah.
You think of the team that has been to the last 2 North American LCS finals.
Yep.
And they need to set themselves up in that position, whereas when you look at Immortals, when you hear the name Immortals, you think of Huni, Reignover, dominant regular seasons. But this is a completely new lineup. It's just Pobelter from those old days of the dominant regular season. And they're trying to do it again. And if they win against Cloud9,
they're in first.
They're the team that's looking to be in the finals. A lot has yet to be done, but this is a great test for what they can potentially do later.
Absolutely agree. So we'll see who passes this test here and who can put shining colors into this one. Flying colors, as the adage goes. 4 seconds till minion spawn. Ray still spamming his keyboard, making sure he's got all the kinks worked out on that Chocobo or whatever it actually is. I'm sure it's not technically a Chocobo. Those are copyrighted, I'm pretty sure. Either way, it's going to be Xmithie going down towards his red buff. So we're waiting around and coming back up in a second, but looks like it's going to be a bit of a different path for him. Maybe an early invade. If he's predicting Contractz to go like Raptors, red, Krugs, respawn, Xmithie can go red into blue steals.
Yeah, Smoothie is very deliberate about his jungle path. So I am very curious to see where he goes here. Rek'Sai's almost always start at Raptors just because the level 3 gank with the experience point after killing Scuttlecrab is so threatening on Rek'Sai. But where will Xmithie go to try and cut him off? Since he could have just as well done Raptors red than red Raptors, and that's just more efficient experience-wise. Or he was just hoping for Cody Sun and Olleh to be able to get back to lane sooner.
Yeah, it might have been for a bot lane pressure because they're afraid of what Thresh Kalista can do in the lane matchup, and they think they can get the push early enough on.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah, maybe it's for the bot lane pressure, and you can see teams playing around their lanes differently. You know, some will actually sacrifice bot lane to get the jungle lead started sooner, and instead, Xmithie was able to dodge wards on the way in. I believe he was not spotted by the trinket that Jensen put down. Contractz gonna fight for this, and he's gonna grab that. Level 3 is there, but he's gotta be a bit careful. Out he goes, and yeah, no real steals to be had. That level 3 for Contractz is in. Xmithie just kind of getting through his own jungle now.
Yeah, and the level 3 rush there by Contractz is a little muted when you're spotted by the enemy jungler doing it, because you can no longer surprise someone with a 2-minute and 40-second gank. Generally means Contractz will just continue to farm out his jungle.
What a hook! Threads the needle, and the javelin to Cody Sun's face. Ignite was on as well, but look at the trade back, actually. Good damage out of Smoothie. Nice shot there from Sneaky as well, get some damage across, but Bard can heal and Thresh cannot. Immortals generally should be reasonably okay with this one.
I will say, though, that Thresh has many more health potions than Cody Sun can bring to lane. Smoothie, multiple biscuits. Cody Sun going to try and heal up with Bard and Doran Shield.
And a Warlord, so I think he's generally going to be okay. He'll still stay pretty healthy, and Sneaky, of course, didn't take much damage, so he's fine for now. And Cody Sun should be able to hold the line, but it's a 5 CS lead right now for the C9 duo. We'll see if that gets to be more soon. As Cody Sun is the best to last it under the turret. Nice attempted at the stun. A couple of chunks back and forth. And
Summoner spell advantage. C9, Ignite for Ignite Flash.
Yeah. Pretty nice. And 3 CS difference in the bot lane. No early recall yet for Cloud9. Going to wait a little bit longer as Pobelter getting shoved in, but he's only down 3 and can likely move up, actually. As a result here, this is really nice, using the Gatling gun to soften the minis a little bit. You cannot normally one-shot the casters without a little bit of help, so Pobelter playing that pretty much perfectly, and he's now up in CS.
Yeah, there is ward control in the river for C9, which is allowing Contractz to come down here, knowing that they have the flash out of Cody Sun. If they can land another hook, it could convert into a very big fight, but Xmithie is expecting it as well. Here we go.
Damage on Sneaky. Here comes the flay and the knockup as well, but here's Xmithie right in front of the turret, not in range just yet, looking for damage on a Smoothie. Forced run away, first blood coming through. The teleport for Corki paying off some dividends. As the second kill comes through for him, a double for Pobelter in the mid lane. There's no one else to be seen. It's Cloud9 now running away, but Contractz going to be stunned against the wall. Cocoon is in there and a triple. Pobelter getting off to an absolutely amazing start. He is soaring in this one.
Double TP instantly from Immortals. Such team play coming through right there. You don't expect the Corki to bring teleport. That almost never happens, but they absolutely make it work right there. They read C9's want to play around bottom lane. The flash engage from Smoothie fully commits C9, and the double TP comes in to turn around. That was beautifully timed by Immortals. They read that play, and they responded to it just right. Xmithie here for the counter gank, but it doesn't end there because this isn't planned to be a 3v3. Both the mid lane and bottom lane are free to teleport because they were both in lane reset patterns. They had already shopped. So yes, they do lose Xayah at the start of this, but that's not the call here. It's the triple kill that comes through for Pobelter after he teleports in a nice little stun into the cheat wall right there.
Really well aimed.
Followed by the Cocoon and the kill over Pobelter. That is huge for Corki.
Pobe even gets, I believe, a blue buff out of his efforts as well. So he got first blood gold, he got the extra 2 kills. That's a strict 1,000 gold right there from kill credits, and then even a fresh blue is going to feel great. So you expect Pobelter to really snowball. Now, he did not recall between, I believe. He walked to lane, so he's sitting on, a mountain of cash right now, Scrooge McDuck style. Trinity Force is going to come in pretty quickly for him, though.
Yeah, he actually going to go for a gank. They're hoping to get cleanse out of Jensen right there.
Yeah.
But should absolutely be going for a recall very soon. His team is playing around him a lot in the mid lane, though. He has a controller on one side, he had a Bard on the other, so he was feeling very safe to Valkyrie forward. It's not like Jensen has a big out of advantage on him either, even if Pobelter is safe.
They matched their initial recalls at the start.
Yep. They
recalled on the same wave. Basically the one right before the next cannon wave came in, about 4 minutes in, and they had equal CS, so it was equal items, and then Jensen just stayed and farmed an extra wave or two as Pobelter TP'd down, and obviously he's richer. 700 gold lead for Immortals. We'll see what else they can do for themselves. They need this win to stay in the match. See if they can make that happen. Nice knockback, bit of damage, but this Corki reasonably durable, of course. Warless, Bloodlust, Doran Shield start, and building towards that phage early on means hard to kill off this champion.
Yeah, both sides McShove and Unraveled Worth. Just rank 1 there by Jensen, so you're used to seeing that, chunking someone else, but doesn't happen at level 5.
Nope. And it's Storm Raiders Taliyah, which you've been seeing more commonly of late, but it's not been ubiquitous entirely. Either way, it's a non-damaging keystone. It's for the mobility, which you tend to want in a champion like this.
Yeah, Jensen actually was hoping to keep Pobelter in lane as long as possible because we know when he goes back, he's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep getting the item lead. But that is really important, actually, is gold doesn't mean anything intrinsically. You've actually got to do something with it. You've got to buy the items. And you're right, keeping him in lane is a pretty big deal. They're going to go over the wall. They'll look for a bit of a play here. There's a stun. Sneaky not 6-ing. There's no way out. Oh, they got the double stun. He lined up with it. And Sneaky might not be able to get away with this one. Has no summoners. The auto attacks are in. And yes, the chop comes in. A double kill for Xmithie. What a great gank into the bot lane. Now Contractz wants top side. Here comes Kled. Is he in the circle? Yes, he is. He finds Flame. Here comes the wall. The knockup is in. They're going to have the damage. But can Contractz survive the turret shot? He's going to try to heal. And the rework at work, the extra little bit of healing per second from the passive keeps them alive. Maybe that was the reason. Either way, bot lane tier 1's gonna fall first. Immortals with 5 kills down on this side of the map. Gonna get the turret as well at 8 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah, C9 trying to make the best of the bad situation by sending a 3-man gank up topside as their bottom lane gets wrecked. We're gonna watch this bottom lane gank one more time. Just Bartlease over the wall. There's no flash on Smoothie. Cocoon lands, and the lineup for the double stun
beautiful.
Kind of seals their fate. Cody Sun then able to chase in pretty easily with the red buff, Elise, as well as the Bard. So very well played there by Immortals, and I do feel like the game is getting a little out of hand for C9, even this early.
Grabbing the Cloud Drake away. Next one going to be Infernal. So if they can keep bot lane pressure, the Drakes will stack up and pretty quickly. Immortals in a very good spot this game, and the top lane is not the same as it was before. Ray is not in that same level of advantage now. Going to be stunned against the wall shortly, you have to imagine, but quickly gets a lantern, so he's going to keep him safe for now. We're not going to find any more combat to be had here.
Yeah, great instincts by both supports there. Knowing the bottom lane turret had fallen, that lane is going to reset, so they both naturally move top lane to make a play. Smoothie doesn't have to expend his ultimate because he doesn't have one yet, but still neutralizes Olleh's roam.
So far, it's pretty beautiful stuff out of this one. Flame gonna... I guess he was on cooldown. Q couldn't reach.
He tried, though.
He did. Jett's gonna find Pobelter for a bit of damage here. The knockback is in as well. He doesn't really want to Valkyrie because it hits up the Unraveled Earth, but finally does and gets away with it. And now here's the flash follow. Both of them, actually.
Whoa.
Gonna show up for that, and a simple trade of 2 flashes for 1. I feel like it's okay for Jensen.
Yeah, I don't think Olleh or Xmithie needed the flash there. Boots of mobility, Elise is going to catch up to the Jensen Taliyah regardless, but yeah, both Xmithie and Olleh burn flashes. Jensen smartly just goes over the wall and also impressively pressuring the 3-0 Corki lane.
Totally agree. You can see Sheen phage in and plenty more items to go there. Sork Shoe's going to be grabbed, and Pobelter's in a really solid spot here inside the base. He's going to walk back out soon enough. I want to check in a couple different players. I do want to talk about Sneaky and Smoothie because outside of all the ganks that came in, I think they were arguably winning lane. Despite all their deaths, they've actually got a farm lead still down there, which, to be fair, is the matchup. It's not a shock that they're up in farm here, but kind of unlucky, you'd say, in solo queue. Just party keeps showing up, they keep getting ganked, and hey, that's credit to Immortals playing very well around it, pushing bot lane and punishing the aggression without quite the words they needed. Yeah,
a 5-man party as soon as they tried to extend their lead. They had pulled off a summoner spell burn early. They were trying to capitalize on it, but that's what a very organized, disciplined team can do to you, is they'll see where you want to get your edge, and they'll get ready to punish it. Even from champion select, just the fact that Pobelter brought teleport on Corki, that hurts his laning phase against Taliyah. A lot of times, Corkis are going to be bringing heal.
Or exhaust for the dueling.
Or exhaust for the dueling, for that matter, and he brings neither.
Top lane outer going to fall pretty easily. Rift Herald spawn just for good measure, and Cody Sun gonna get a lot of that local gold here. Looks like Rift to him is the standard fare. But I will get the trade, at least something for it.
This Rift Herald only matters if it gets the second turret, because they were getting that turret regardless. So time they spend in Rift Herald needs to be capitalized on here. Ray doing his best to clear the way.
Do some damage in this one. He's still reasonably tanky. Rift Herald going to take a lot of damage, so it's going to be about half that top lane 2-2 turret, which is still meaningful damage, of course, but it's not going to fall just yet. So that was the payment for their failed pickup, is half the top lane tier 2. And it feels like from all the pro games I've seen, Rift Herald tends to get half to 2/3 of a turret. That seems to be its actual value.
Yeah, I just wish teams would stop using it on turrets that would fall anyways, since it takes the full damage from its charge, regardless of how much damage it actually deals to the turret. So basically just last hit that, but Xmithie is still trying to make plays.
And he's going to find Sneaky here with Flame in the front lines, but around the back as well. He's going to try to flash away, but there's not quite the way out. The Lantern didn't quite reach him. Tempered Fate stops out Smoothie, and now can they find the re-engage on this? They've also got Jensen with it, actually. Going to flash away one of them, and Jensen able to run. 6-2 Immortals, certainly continuing to play very aggressive, very fast. 8 kills in 12 minutes. Stacking up Drake, stacking up turrets as well.
Yeah, pensive Sneaky after that one. Trying to keep pressure up with Kalista. It's not a champion you want to fall behind the curve of the game on, since it's a very short range marksman. He's going to have a lot of issues in the late game against Pobelter's Corki, who will be hitting his items much, much faster. For C9, they want to be able to use the Kled and the Taliyah ultimate to come back in the game, but just haven't found many opportunities to do so. It's been Immortals who's found the collapses.
Very good from them so far. We'll see if C9 can turn things around a bit later on, but right now it's been a much slower game for them, and they've at least been able to trade overall on turrets, and I think that's actually pretty positive for the fact that they've generally been being pushed around otherwise on the map. Keeping that score equal is nice. Immortals, of course, are still able to stack Drakes from their bot lane advantages thanks to all the kills. Ray looking for a play on the mid side. Pobelter, though, has summoners available with C. He's going to Valkyrie out. He's not quite going to get tagged by Kled. And maybe a bit too far as Pobelter Valkyrie's away, but he's out of mana. Still, though, has the flash. He's going to wave pretty easily enough.
Yeah, fairly conservative Kled ult there by Ray, all things considered. He didn't dive deep because he didn't have any deep vision. He was just hoping that Pobelter would either be pushed off the turret and they could kill it, or that he wouldn't have backup, but neither is true. So I think the mid lane siege game continues. A lot of this will be still on Jensen and Ray to continue to try and make those plays, but it's very difficult. Immortals can just send 2 people to mid lane and stop Jensen from having a shove advantage at any point.
Yep. Now, at least Jensen is shoving, though, and he's farming nicely. He's up 20 farm. It's actually halved the gold lead that Pobelter had from the kills. Pobelter gets 1,000 gold from his 3 kills, and Jensen's made that only a 500 individual lead, so certainly it's within reach, you'd have to say. Control wards and inventories of both these teams looking to keep playing for the next major objective. Infernal Drake certainly one of, if not the most valuable of the 4. And as it spawns in 15 seconds, Immortals are first on the scene, and they've got pretty decent vision control, actually. They've got the mouths of the river ordered as well. They're going to find
nice
2.
ults.
And here comes Tempered Fate, the double knock up there as well. There's certainly no way out. The root layered, almost nothing could have been done. Contractz just barely gets away, but it's still a resulting 5v4. Cloud9 not able to do a whole lot. They might find Xmithie, and they do actually. To even get a trade kill is massive. Cloud9 find one for themselves, and Jensen able to kite back as well. Really beautiful stuff for the defensive squad here. Making it a 1-for-1 as Sneaky and Xmithie trade live.
Such a weird fight, though. Ray is pushing top, and Pobelter is pushing bottom. He never came to that fight. So Immortals does trade a 1-for-1, but they trade even more turret damage back over for it. Now Contractz goes for Bard.
Damage on the Olleh, gonna kite back towards the mid lane, and he's gonna take 1 turret shot, and he's not in range. There's the ulti in, and Contractz gonna find the kill, stops for shoot, and gets the feather, but it's not gonna matter. Pobelter finally roams over, gets himself that one picked up, plus the assist. Means a bit of extra gold across hook. Not gonna land, but here comes Ray. Does he want in?
No
ulti. Yeah, not gonna.
Yeah, has to call it off, and I think Immortals ultimately gain control for the Infernal Drake, which they should be able to pick up uncontested there, but they had to fight for it. Let's watch it one more time. As the Sentinel sees them, Sneaky was just starting to feel safe. He is getting picked on. Double airborne, double stun by the Bard. Contractz barely able to clip the Lantern out, but a surprising amount of damage taken by Xmithie. And watch the Ignite by Smoothie.
Yeah.
Invalidates the heal from Xayah, gives the double buffs over to Smoothie, makes him really confident in the fight to come, actually.
Yeah. Well, ended up being extended 2 for 2, I do believe, as a result. Infernal Drake did go over to Immortals. Next one up is going to be Cloud number 2, so those are the ones in this game so far. Immortals are holding on to a solid 3,500 gold lead, though, and it's kind of spread across everybody. You've got a 4-0 Corki, you've got 3-1-3 on Xmithie's Elise. Certainly has had a solid game for himself. Was credited initially with a lot of the Immortal success, but it really does feel like a very solid team game. Perfect kill participation for Olleh, 0, 1, and 8. He's been everywhere this game, as you would kind of expect with a Bard. So he looks to ward for himself, and mid lane is being pressured by the other 4.
Yeah, just on Immortals to choke out C9 here. It's something they've been very good at this split. One of the main reasons they are competing for first place. They were unable to get that early game lead in game 1 against C9, but because of the double TP early on, it's given them that advantage, which they now need to close in on C9 with.
And they're going to close in on Ray. The layer of CCs now just Skarl, and he's going to be going to mount back up. Skarl rejoins. Here comes Caddick, doesn't the flash to get away, and Ray going to buy a little bit more time. Here comes Bart, though. He's trying to run. He's charging towards the base. He's going to buy himself a few more seconds, and Ray leading on a wild goose chase, almost literally at this point.
Yeah, he still wants to escape, but it's taken all 5 people.
Cloud Drake at work. Cody Sun finds some distance. Oh, he almost lived! He almost lived! That could have been the LCS hugest play of the day. But the kill comes through, Cody Sun arriving in time to knock him down.
That was so close to working, but now C9 had tried to save Ray. Immortals for the fight.
Look at the kiting the fancy feet out of Jensen. He had cleansed the entire time, but just runs away from it all. and dodging the skill shots pretty beautifully. A lot of close calls here to this one. Contractz spinning around the wings, of course. It's still a 4v5. Flame has teleport. This is a bit dangerous. They're going to look for Pobelter. They put the wall down to cut them off, and now Pobelter can't join the fight, so Olleh's going to go down. Nice little tenacity right there by Cloud9 to find themselves that fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the kill on Ray probably wasn't worth it. Immortals spent so much time on that kill, didn't even get objectives, and now C9 set up another play.
I think he flashed away from, I didn't see what, maybe it was doing on the wing. Now Smoothie going to put the box down, running away, going to buy a bit of time. Ray rejoins the fight. He is alive. It's a 5v4. Pobelter going to lose his life. A shutdown for Ray. Help from, of course, Contractz as well. Another read not going to come through for Flame. The Feather Storm not going to land quite the root with the blade color, I should say. But a kill comes through again. Ray on the double. 2 more for Cloud9 here in a 5v3.
Oh, he's heating up.
Ray is going to want more. It's still going to come with the pull through. Feather Storm does not deny when it's already on you, and this turret's going to fall with damage from Sneak and the rest of the squad. Turret falls. Cloud9 tied the turret score in the game, only 1,500 apart.
Yeah, I feel like Ray pulling Immortals back into the game. His teleport found Bear Trap on a rope onto him, and Contractz doesn't have ult. Gonna be tough.
John Cody Sun gonna get him now. Can he tunnel away? Yes, he can. The regen is in, but now Olleh with the Flash Ignite auto attack, trading it back once again.
Oh, this has turned into a bit of a bloodbath. Watching it one more time, I mean, look where Contractz is. Immortals thinks they can make the play with teleports. Here comes Pobelter and Jarvan from the base, Jarvan from the base and Pobelter, but he gets knocked up by Contractz as Ray lands the lunge and bear trap on a rope, and getting the shutdown on a Pobelter means C9 now have the edge on the fight. Flame missed his EQ and then walked into the rest of C9, and Ray very nearly picks up the triple here, even though they've been playing with a deficit for most of the game, so knowing when to pull the trigger to try and get back in. Hallmark of Cloud9.
Yeah, it was TP's available, Ray is alive, and Olleh's still dead. 5v4, let's go, and they got 2 more out of it, so nicely done by them. Again, 1,800, the only difference here. Immortals, you see 14-3 record. They got leads at 20 minutes. This lead is still one that I would consider meaningful. Yeah, 2 Drakes and over 1,000 gold, so we'll see if they can make that continue to happen.
Yeah, because we still have to look at the Kalista here. Blade of the Rune King QSS, that's it. 0-4. Versus Cody Sun, Fan Advancer, and Essence Reaver completed. That bottom lane advantage is very real, and it is on Ray and Jensen to deal the damage in the team fights, whereas Immortals does have the triple threat currently.
And it is surprising me, you mentioned Sneaky's build, getting Quicksilver Sash against, there's really only Cocoon and Bard's Stun. I mean, I guess Cody Sun has as well. There's a few tools here, but defensively when behind feels a bit rough because you need to actually punch through the tankier front line that Immortals has, but it's Sneaky's choice.
Exactly, damage if you do, damage if you don't, as a 0-4 Kalista, because if he doesn't build the QSS and Xmithie lands a Cocoon on him,
0-5.
It's 100-0.
Yeah.
Whereas with QSS, at least he stands a chance at surviving and can maybe, at least Fate's Call Smoothie in. Speaking of Cocoon.
Yeah, they're gonna land one on Ray. Here comes the attack from Corki. Valkyrie's forward, and now 5 kills for Pobelter, trying to continue to be that primary carry force. A lot of magic damage on the roster from the Corki there. Static shift done with the Trinity Force, means Phreak first is available. The trades back and forth. Tempered Fate not quite gonna hit. Out goes Jensen. Nice Lantern by Smoothie. The 1 for 0 though, still positive, and Ray has TP'd down, so he will not join the fight for a while. Clouddrake spawns in 10. Should be an easy pickup for Immortals.
It's gonna be hard to defend the turret as well as defend Clouddrake, especially with Ray being down, as you mentioned, with no teleport. Double Cloud, a lot of Cloudrakes this series, but Infernal, very cooperative with Immortals team comp. A lot of AD and AP builders.
I agree, they all kind of care a little bit. Even Olleh might care about his ability power a little. And down it goes. Cody Sun getting the kill credit on this one. He's gonna move faster. All right, well, Immortals gonna start playing for Baron control. It spawned 2 minutes ago, and they're gonna keep stacking these up. Second Infernal next up in the plate, so with a fairly open map and a lot of team fighting happening, these feel like pretty solid choices for them, so maybe the dice roll is working in their favor a little bit here.
Yeah, and it's just so difficult for C9 to have good team fights. With Taliyah wanting to set up shop in a new area so she can work around in the right ways, and Ray needing to find flanks, Rek'Sai not scaling super well, and Thresh being more about picks and less about team fights. It just sets up for Immortals to have so much more damage. That 5-kill Corki outdamages anything Cloud9 can bring on top of the goal lead, so C9 in a quite difficult spot here.
See Flame waiting around, looking for something to do in the mid lane. Not going to find it yet. Ray is back in the bot lane, and Pobelter's in the top, of course. The Immortals have 2 teleport users. Certainly Jensen, as you mentioned in Champ Select, on this Taliyah is able to get around the map quickly. It's still not as fast as teleport. So Immortals, theoretically, I could say, maybe on a bit of a better split push tangent, just because of that teleport, the ability to get back in. Pobelter knocks down top lane tier 2, makes it 4-3 in turrets, and can find a bit of damage in the Contractz. Double Cloud even helping that rotation game a little bit here. A second gained here or there. Sometimes makes a difference, sometimes doesn't.
And Pobelter, with the 5 kills, also has gotten solo turret gold twice. So he's huge as far as gold is concerned.
Yeah, weird ulti from Olleh actually just kind of cancels out the dunk, and now Flame gonna take some damage over the wall.
Is it?
He wants the kill, he's not gonna get it just yet. Meanwhile, Contractz looking for a bit more onto Xmithie. Flame back in, kills goes through to Sneaky, 1 for 0 so far. Hook just gonna go wide from Smoothie. Jensen pushed around, but still a 1 for 0 is a solid situation. Flame gonna recall back for healing. Foam Guard and TP both available, but 30 seconds of uptime now for Cloud9.
And Ray is drawing so much attention in these team fights. He jumped in on Flame, and I believe it was pretty much Pobelter and Cody Sun that were just free hitting him for a while, and he managed to dismount, flash over the wall, buying enough time for Xmithie to Zhonya's come out of stasis and still die. I feel like Ray carried that fight, even if he was not the recipient of the kill.
Still very well done by him. We can watch this fight one more time.
Yeah, agree with you on the odd Bard ultimate right here.
I think he's trying to save him.
Yeah, trying to save Flame because the rest of Immortals needed to arrive, but just watch the way this focus goes down. Pobelter is a little bit torn between 2 different fights, wants to help out Ray, but also wants to fight the rest of C9. Meanwhile, Xmithie goes down, and since Flame was the one who was caught out, he had to retreat, making that start for C9 fortuitous.
Interesting interaction, by the way, with the Bard and the Jarvan. You are unstoppable while casting Cataclysm, which means you're immune to things like Tempered Fate, and so he didn't turn golden while everyone else did. Ironic considering his outfit normally, but that's fine, that's how it went. So if they want to do that on purpose, though, Flame can like put people in a ring, make them all get Zhonya's, and he himself can do something else at his time, despite kind of delivering the ability to a certain extent. Either way, I think that one was unintentional, but yeah, worth noting regardless. Let's see who can come in next for this one. 2,500 gold, still Immortals ahead, plus the 3 Drakes they've got. As close as these fights have been, it's still Immortals in the driver's seat here. See if they can get a bit more out about this one. Pobelter still looking for the plays. Infinity Edge done in about 300 gold plus a recall. That's not long away.
The double Infinity Edge power spike is going to be massive for Immortals, especially considering they have 3 Drakes with a 2nd Infernal on the way the next time it comes up. That's feeling a little bit more like a timer for C9, telling them they have to fight before then. I mean, at least now they have the Hurricane on the Kalista, so he could be relevant. If they can find a fight, the time is now.
They can get it, nice little stun right there. Gonna find the knockup as well on the Contractz, a lot of damage. Guy's gonna ult for a bit of time. He's got a Lantern available and he wants it. Gets back for a couple more seconds. The Fate's Call comes in, gets a double knockup in the backline. The 2 marksmen are gone. Jensen getting kill into Flame. As Smoothie forced to flash away, is gonna stay alive. A knockup, they're gonna find Olleh as well. And as Ray dismounts, he just continues to buy so much time in the front line, knowing his limits so well, and look at this, Immortals are cut off. Can they find the re-engage? They gotta be careful because health bars are low. Contractz goes in for the knockup. Look at the damage he's taking, gets shut down, and maybe an ill-fated attack. Xmithie actually not gonna be hooked. Smoothie timing that one a little bit wrong on the Zhonya's, but he's still getting that kill for himself. The 3-for-1 overall to trade, although Contractz kind of killed himself.
Yeah, who's trapped with whom with that wall right at the end by Taliyah, but still just exemplary team fighting by Cloud9. They're playing the zones so well in these fights and just picking up kill after kill onto Flame, who hasn't been able to zone out, not to mention Xmithie hasn't found his way into fights. Xmithie's been great on Elise this game finding picks, but hasn't been able to get onto Sneaky or Jensen in these really critical fights. I think the cleanse and the QSS do have a lot to do with that, but that was the moment where C9 needed to have the fight because the Infinity Edges will probably be in for the next one. Cocoon on Contractz, but he's super tanky. He unburrows and stops Flame. That kind of stuffs that initiation. And then at that point, it's now Sneaky and Jensen's turn to fight. Flame cataclysms himself in with Phreak just to die, and everyone on C9 is able to just disengage and not get CC chained to their death. Here, Jensen really wants to turn it, but Ray is very low, so they consider whether or not they should go. Jensen decides to go for Xmithie. Contractz his other ideas, miscommunication there, and it turns into a 1-for-1 trade at the end for the junglers.
Pop, down he goes. And to his credit, Sneaky's definitely caught back up pretty well in this one. Hurricane is done, and he went from 0-4-4 to 2-4-5, so 2-0-1 since the QSS pickup, and you can see damage output really huge out of Taliyah and not so much out of the rest of the team.
Yeah, even though Sneaky has caught back up, still not a factor in these team fights. He did get Bard ulted early and then was on the other side of the Taliyah wall at the end. Double Infernal going down to Pobelter by soloing the Infernal Drake is something C9 would want to stop, but they don't have the right vision.
Yep. Only the gold 1,700 apart, and there's a smite just to buy a little bit more of Pobelter's time back. Xmithie shows up for a bit of an assist. Double Infernal, double Cloud, feels good, man. Immortals having the ones that affect your team fighting prowess are I would argue, the most. Being able to show up and maybe dodge the opening skill shots. You've got a 50 extra move speed buffer to dodge hooks with to make sure you're not getting caught out. To droop up in time when Ray ults across for everyone. See if that matters much in this game. Is 12-12 in kills. Cloud9 are team fighting well to their credit. They've caught up at that scoreline. Tempered Fate gonna actually force Sneaky's flash. I'm not sure he needed to though. He had the team around him. They're gonna find a stun on the Contractz. Pretty tanky though with Cinderhulk Rek'Sai after all. Visage coming in after a couple more 100 gold comes through, but Cloud9 have actually wrestled away control of this upper river. Immortals have played for the Drakes and given away a bit of Baron control. Ray kites away, and look at this, they're rushing it down.
Well, Pobelter did go back to base. He can teleport it. No, Taliyah ult doesn't cut everyone off. C9's gonna have to fight.
5 doesn't help us in this one. They're gonna look for Xmithie, pops the Zonia's. Ray buying some time, forces the kite back yet again, and out goes the Elise to buy a bit more, and he's gonna stay alive. Ray almost has the Fury built back up. They get the kill on a Smoothie, 1-for-0. Immortals in the front line. They're gonna find the kill on a Jarvan, but a trade back at 2 more. It's 3-for-1 in favor of Immortals. And now a 4v2 on the map. They can go wherever they want. They're gonna choose to go, looks like, for the mid lane. As Ray is cutting back, he can win, he can lose, and Olleh gonna get some help from the blue buff and take him down in the jungle.
The Baron Force completely backfires for C9 right there. Immortals collapse at just the right time. You have to account for the double teleport. Pobelter's gonna be able to make it in to any fight because he's not using it for any reason except when he's out of position on the map. Yes, they thought they could focus on Xmithie, but it wasn't enough. And Immortals now regain control of the game.
They've got absolute control now. 6,000 gold up. They've got entire map control right here. 5 turrets down to 3 as well. Watch that fight again. Yeah,
Taliyah ult doesn't cut off the river, and that's actually where Immortals come from. So Contractz almost dead by the time this fight starts, and now Pobelter actually in position to shred a whole team. Smoothie gets blown up. Jensen already worked the ground in that area, can't maintain his team fighting spot here. And a smart kill by Olleh at the end, not allowing Ray to remount with an auto attack.
Gotta say, credit to Xmithie, who flashed the Taliyah wall and said, hey, look at me, and he bought about 7 seconds with Zonia's and Repel combined and got the team in there. So good stuff out of the Immortals squad, and now let's see what they can do with this lead because they should be in a good spot. More tankiness out of Xmithie when instant Zonia's into going for Adaptive Helm, which might actually be okay against Taliyah. I'll have to do math to know for sure, but the only magic damage dealer on the team, and they're pretty much all repeated hits, so could be a close one, and if that's what he's afraid of, and sure enough on this, still would have, I mean, I think like Abyssal Mask makes tons of sense because you've got, a fed Corki in the team, but it is tankier than Abyssal Mask, so I'm going to leave that first alone for now. And Flame going to split push on the side. He sadly does not have the Baron buff on him. He was the one dead member of Immortals, but the rest of the squad can push pretty quickly with buffed up minion. Looks like it's going to be a 0-4-1 split. Looking at mid lane tier 2.
Yeah, and you look at the items on Cody Sun. Stacking the crit. He is massive right now on Xayah, not to mention Pobelter. So really C9 would need to get some type of pick at the start of the fight because before the 5v5 at Baron heavily went in Immortals' favor. Now after the Baron, after more items have been picked up, it's going to be even more one-sided.
Here we go on a mid lane tier 2. We'll get the Banshee Bill off of Jensen. Actually decent damage coming out of Cody Sun. He's got a red buff for himself as well. His power spikes in 100% crit for Cody Sun, by the way, is going to be belting out damage. So good luck dealing with that. He's huge. And Cloud9's 3 melee champions are going to be shredded apart as soon as he gets some armor pen for the tank stats that are slowly coming in. But of course, not a ton of armor has been built, and Jarvan's got 2 different ways to shred armor. So honestly, Cody Sun is just really well set up. Jensen going to be found by Tempered Fate. Has a lantern for himself, so it's an easy safety, but it bought enough time to knock down mid lane tier 2 with the Baron buff. 6-3 in turrets and an 8,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and I feel like they can cycle around the side waves now with at least Flame having teleport and Pobelter being fairly mobile. Keep C9 at bay. They're playing this pretty safe because they know they have those 4 dragons in their back pocket. Will be able to get a 5th in Ocean if they don't actually break the inhibitor wall right now, so no rush on their side. especially because they outscale in this matchup as well from a champion perspective.
Comes next to this one, Cloud9. When will they choose to come back in? We know they're a team that is very tenacious and looks for those comeback moments. And as they wait for the Baron to slowly time out in the next 20 seconds, they have to deal with a 9,000 gold deficit, and they want in. They're going to find Olleh. They're going to get a stun, but is it going to be enough to stop them? Sneaky pushed down to below half HP, and now he's got lifesteal minions right back in as Ray gets the lantern. Does just barely get away, but a stun's going to land. They're going to kill off Smoothie. No problem, no question asked. 1 for 0 already. The kite back. Sneaky pops the QSS. Smoothie just barely running away as Ray is the one kill picked up so far. It's a 1 for 0. The attempt for Cloud9 does not pay off.
Yeah, I thought the Cataclysm was going to do a lot more there, but Smoothie able to bounce back with the Fate's Call.
That's what it was, yeah.
Helping him. Also stuffed the initiation of Immortals. Baron gone, but they did harass C9 really low, so they want this turret.
This wall, though, could mean the re-engage. Hook's going to find one. That's a very important kill. Brother Storm trying to get away. The Blade Collie's trying to get out, and it's going to be the shutdown. Kill picked up. He gets 1 on the board. Cody Sun getting his 3rd death of the game. Couldn't get away with it.
Yeah, C9 desperately trying to stick around, and the straw hasn't broken the back yet, but it feels more and more like that moment is coming this game. As they break the inhibitor open and have the Drake on the way, C9 not able to win any of these fights in a meaningful way, but are finding, I think, pretty crafty initiations.
We have double Knight's Vow out of Cloud9. Contractz is bound specifically with Jensen as the primary carry of the Cloud9 squad. Smoothie going for it on Thresh, I think, is a bit more questionable because he's a ranged champion, but still going to give him some level of defense. I personally like lock it a bit more, but it's the choice he's gone for in this. C9 going to be able to sneak an Ocean Drake. At least something for them.
Yeah. Huh. Surprised that Immortals didn't go for that, but...
They had lost Cody Sun, so I think they had a 5v4. Now an engage in the mid lane. Cody Sun is still dead. Contractz, though, dangerously low and shut down by Pobelter. The damage across is there, and now Xmithie, one more shot could do him in. Not quite going to find Sneaky instead. The kill's still going to come through for Pobelter, who continues to stack on the kills. 8-1 and 5. 19-14 and winning a 4v5. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, the nice thing about Corki compositions, when your AD carry's dead, you got another one. You can
too.
Still fight. Pobelter very fed in this game now, 8-1 and 5. You saw him just shredding through C9 in that 4v5.
And it's going to be the attempt to push even farther. 25-second death timers in both Contractz and Smoothie. Mid lane under fire. They don't need a Baron buff. They just need the numbers advantage they got for themselves. Xmithie running back across the map with boots of mobility. He'll be joining in soon. And it's going to be Taliyah trying to buy a few more seconds. Ray going to be pushed off, but there's no minion waves here anyway. Oh, no, there is a wave. Sorry, I missed it. It does get attacked right there and shut down by the Taliyah, so I take it back. A well-timed ult by Jensen. I didn't see the minions. And they buy themselves those seconds they needed. That one wave is gone, and the team is respawned.
Yeah, so another good stall by C9. But right here, Pobelter just valks in, takes Jensen to half with an auto attack. And the fight pretty much erupts, but unless you're going to have hard CC for that Corki, you're going to get taken out.
Yeah.
Xmithie gets hooked, but damage follow through can't come. Bard out zones Jensen out of the fight, and everyone else on C9 have to retreat.
And it's 80% crit Corki. He's full build now. Guardian Angel in there as well, just to make sure Ray can't really threaten him. But he is belting out damage with this build here. Difficulties ahead. They're going to find Tempered Fate on a 1. Contractz. Ray going to buy a bit of time, and out comes the run. But they found Sneaky at this point. He's not going to be living any longer as Cody Sun takes him out. Ray dismounts trying to run, but he's been stunned up, slowed down by a Bard. Kill onto Olleh. Maybe not going to happen. The kill's not there for Cloud9. Instead, the shutdown's coming through. It's all for Immortals. They've killed 4 off already on Contractz. The only one left alive. There is no chance of defending it. This should be the game winner for Immortals as they wait for a new mid lane wave. As his turret falls, the inhibitor will follow. With 30 seconds to go, this should be all that Immortals need.
Yeah. Olleh's Bard has been so good this entire game. Even if he's not landing the Tempered Fates, he is setting up the play that is to come. A clean 4 for 0, 5-5 Immortals as they push through the mid lane.
20 of 23 participation for the Immortal support. Olleh on his trademark Bard. They thought taking Thresh away would do it. It was not the case. GG Immortals in 37-15. Tie up the series against Cloud9.
Yeah, and Pobelter said before the series that the last time they played it was a close Game 3 series that broke on the slimmest of margins, and it looks like we're in for another one of those. C9 had the big early start in Game 1. Immortals had the early start in Game 2 with the triple kill coming for Pobelter early, and they carried it through. It took 37 minutes because C9 are fighters and they're going to keep coming at you, but they were just too fed at the end of it. Double Infernal Drake, better scaling team composition, good positioning by Pobelter's Corki.
Totally agree. He did very, very well for himself, was the beneficiary of a very good like level 3, level 4 team fight, and took off from there. I think very few mistakes out of him. He certainly did a lot of work in the team fights. Cody Sun actually close to him in damage output, which I found very impressive as well, only being down 10% despite not being a 5-0 start and a poke champion, so that was kind of props to him. But there is a catastrophic difference between what Jensen could do and what Sneaky could do. Did not convert on the Kalista. Maybe he had to because of the way the game was scaling, but still not much out of that C9 bot lane, sadly. But now for more on that Immortals tying game, let's send it over to our analysts.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Immortals striking back here, extending to a Game 3 against Cloud9. And as was mentioned, near the end of the game, looking fairly dominant. But we're going to work our way through this one beat at a time because there were multiple moments in which Immortals, gave opportunities back to C9 and almost let the victory slip through their fingers.
Yeah, I mean, this, can seem like if you skip the middle of the game, looks like a dominant Immortals game because huge early game right off the bat. A very dominant couple, last 5-10 minutes, but somewhere in the middle, it got away from them a little bit.
Exactly. So let's work our way there. Starting with the team comps, once again, we've got a lot of Kalista priority here out of Cloud9. That's to be expected at this point. The Corki's coming in as per usual, but I think a lot of this has to do with, once again, the playmaking supports as well as the junglers and what can they get done in the early game.
I think that's a huge thing because Immortals basically banked on Elise having a bigger impact on the game than a Thresh Kalista combination. And one thing that kind of went, I think, unnoticed by C9 was the double teleport because they want to force around that bot lane. You see early on, just 4:30 into the game, they actually go for that early game play. They want to get this lane rolling as fast as they can because this is why the Kalista lane's so strong. You have gank support with the Thresh as well, being able to go for flash lantern plays. And that's exactly what they go for. Immortals has the read on it, but this would have been a pretty even play if they did not have the extra teleport to come in from the Corki. And so Pobelter joins the fight, is able to sway this heavily in Immortals' favor. They get the 3-for-1. He himself gets rolling really heavily off this.
Oh, absolutely.
Huge pickup in the early game that kind of neutralizes some of Jensen's early threat because, hey, you got a triple kill on your Corki 5 minutes in the game. And that limits one of the things that C9 does very well, which is dominate the mid lane.
Right, very well read from Immortals in order to kind of see that play developing and respond in kind, picking up the 3 kills, all of which will fall onto Pobelter, this man on your screen right here. And a lot of their top performances have come off of the back end of him carrying. But now I want to talk about how this game almost fell away from Immortals, because with that triple kill on a champion like Corki, someone who can push the lane, roam easily with the packages, or utilize that teleport on cooldown, you would think, based on the way Immortals has played throughout this split, that they would be able to cleanly close this out. That's not what happened.
Not quite. I mean, C9 starts being like, all right, well, we can't go bottom anymore. They go top a little bit. They trade some pressure with a top kill while, I think it was a double kill in the bot lane. And then eventually you get into this really weird situation where Ray is on full split push mode.
Right.
And Immortals wants to cut him off of this. So Ray starts trying to kite this out. He ends up living for a really long time because they get a little greedy thinking, all right, we got him. And with that, he starts
the remount.
Yeah, gets the remount, starts running away. His ultimate comes up. No one's able to get in front of it to block it, which is something you usually see. He ends up going all the way into Immortals' base. C9 wants to capitalize on all this attention he's drawing. And so they say, all right, you know what? We should shove up mid lane and try and answer some objectives while they're busy cleaning up Ray. But this whole situation ends up taking so long that by the time they finally get the kill and they finally want to teleport in to try and punish C9 for grouping up around this mid lane turret, Ray's back alive too. And so you get into a 5v5 situation that ends up going decently well for C9, and they're able to not only win the fight and get a couple kills, they actually get the mid lane turret as well.
Right, exactly. Picking up lots of gold off the back end of this fight. Again, this came around 17:30 in the game, so we're still kind of in that, early to mid game. Not too large of advantages have been created just yet, but very much an opportunity for C9 to get back into it, but in large part because Immortals decided to take a stab at a skirmish without full vision there. They didn't know Ray was sitting in that pixel brush right there.
Right, and so you see after that long chase down sequence, C9 actually gets a number of kills, they get back in the game, and it gets to the point where they actually have pressure in the game. Not just, oh, we're kind of back into it. We're now dictating the pace of the game here, and it ends up, Immortals actually come back in this game, not off a great play of their own, but a mistake out of C9.
Exactly, kind of a faulty Baron call here from C9, 29.5 minutes into the game. They're gonna go ahead and start this one up. Poor wall by Jensen. We'll see how Immortals responds in order to get the victory.
And you can kind of understand the thought process that C9 goes for here. They see that, okay, Bard just uses ultimate. That's one of the best tools that they have on their team comp. The other one, of course, just being the Jarvan ultimate, but this wall does not block anyone off. Immortals wraps around more from mid lane than from the blue buff. the only thing coming there is Xmithie, and that's only a good wall if you're going for a burn call, but the rest of Immortals way too close in the area. Xmithie does a great job stalling out here, allowing for Immortals to get a lot of poke damage in, as well as taking damage from the Baron.
Yep.
So Pobelter has another monster team fight there, and is basically able to save Immortals from a potential catastrophe after what was a bad objective call.
From that point onward, it just seems kind of clear that the composition from Immortals with the gold lead is pretty much insurmountable, along with those dragons that they had secured throughout the game, right? The pressure that they had allowed them to pick up those 4 dragons, 2 of which were Infernals, and it just felt with the gold lead, it didn't really matter what kind of fight C9 was able to take, they weren't going to win. Look at that damage dealt by Sneaky. That's kind of abysmally low for a 37-minute game.
Well, that's because Kalista really does rely on winning laning phase. Her build path is not particularly aggressive in terms of, you know, big crit numbers or anything like that.
Right.
And a lot of team fights, if she is not ahead and constantly auto-attacking frontline, she has to wait for the enemy team to engage. Other champions really outperform her, either due to the range, the poking potential, those kinds of things. And it is more indicative of the game that took place than I think Sneaky's performance on it.
Okay.
That early turnaround, you know, triple kill really limited what you can do with that Kalista lane.
Absolutely, but it does kind of call into question in some cases the Kalista pick as a whole, because it seems very sink or swim in that way, right? Where you have someone like Xayah who's going to be happy to scale into the late game. When you've got the Kalista on the other side, if you don't capitalize on early aggression and get her ahead, how do you expect to win the game in any other fashion?
It's true. I mean, this is one of the reasons I think you saw Kalista initially fall out of the meta way back in, I think it was probably around 2016 spring was when we really saw the last of a lot of Kalista play. It's just that she got really surpassed by other utility champions who did not have such a sink or swim playstyle where you could go even in lane and still contribute very heavily in other games. Now it seems like those have been nerfed to the point where Kalista's laning phase is very reliable. This was just a monster turnaround play early on off probably neglecting the double TP.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore a triple kill going over to a Corki, or a mid lane Corki early in the game. From that point on where you're definitely fighting an uphill battle. Player of the game going to go to Olleh though, big playmaker, and that's the thing. We're going back to him in his development as a support player along with the evolution of the meta, the two have they've felt symbiotic, right? Like he not only has grown as a player, but also the style of support that he wants to play is getting better, and it's just he's shot to the top.
Exactly that. Like, if you took this meta, put it at the start of spring, I don't think he would look this dominant, but now that he's synergizing with his team extremely well, they have a lot of confidence in each other, he's really been unlocked to take that Bard pick, which is still not super meta, to be fair, only a handful of people are playing it, and able to execute a huge number of team fights to really secure his team the game.
Well, yesterday was all about 2-0s. Today seems to be about the 3-game series, so it's going to come down to that third game. Meet us back here after the break to see whether Immortals or Cloud9 end their week with a win. Don't touch that browser.